Hey, what's up, investors? My name's Devin Moreno, and today I'm going to talk to you about how you potentially are screwing over your contractors and may not actually be realizing it. And this is something that I accidentally did in the beginning of my investing journey. 4 years ago, I started with 0 houses. Today, now I'm at 17, and now I have a contracting company myself. After running this business and working with contractors and kind of experiencing what it's like, I am able to look back now at this point and say, yeah, I definitely made some mistakes and accidentally screwed over some contractors, not understanding the business. Many of you are probably going to be in a similar situation, so I'm going to go over 5 ways that you're accidentally screwing over your contractor. And the way it impacts you is if you do any of these things, a lot of these contractors are not going to call you back. You're going to wonder why they're not giving you bids. You're going to wonder why they're not showing up for jobs. So the first way that investors screw over contractors accidentally is not understanding the pricing model. There are a lot of times where I actually do property management as well, and some of these clients that I have, these investors or homeowners, will maybe ask a contractor to come out for a small job. That small job could be something as simple as screwing in a light bulb, and they'll say like, okay, well, that should just be a $10 charge or something like that. Absolutely not. If you are a contractor, you know how ridiculous and absurd this is. The time it takes to go to your house and wherever they're coming from, maybe 30 minutes away, then assess the situation, then maybe go to Home Depot to get whatever it is they need, and then come back, stand in the lines, by the way, come back, then come screw in this light bulb, verify that it works, have the tenant and all that, work with you on that and say, hey, yep, tell the landlord it works. And then at the end of that, they're going to get paid $10 and all that. And not to mention you have those overhead costs. You still have to pay for insurance and all your tools and everything that are constant cost to you, regardless of whether or not you're actually using them for that particular job. Which means, and even like this can go into like your truck, it's breaking down just you using it. That means you have asked that contractor to take time from a job that would have paid them more to come to your really small job, or something where you didn't understand the price and now you're expecting a cheap price. So these are variables that make it where, the contractors who actually do work for you for super cheap, you're going to find those are the ones who are always out of business. Those are the ones who disappear, stop answering your phone calls after a period of time. It's because a lot of times they do not understand the costs of actually operating a contracting company. I actually try to model for my contracting company, which, by the way, you can hire me for if you want. I can actually work with you on your projects. I have a crew that can do pretty much everything. But when I started this, I started off just by analyzing, okay, what if I just added 30% gross profit? 30% of the price as profit. And I just start off with that, and you'd be surprised how little money I actually take home just from doing that alone. And so that's just something for you to know, is that these contractors, they do have costs, and if you kind of abuse those costs, there's really not a reason to work for you. So the second way that investors accidentally screw over contractors is not paying them fast enough. This is something that one of my mentors, he actually owns a contracting company of 140 employees, or 104 employees actually, and he basically told me, hey, when I ask for that money, I need it that day. Pay me that day. That's when I asked for it. That's when I send you the invoice. When I send you that text, that's when you're going to pay it. And I follow that to the letter. And I pay all my contractors quickly if I can. No more than a day waiting for the money. And maybe half of the day the next day, the morning of, right? So if you take forever to pay on a job, or even worse, if you say something ridiculous like, hey, I just paid a bill, I need to wait for my next paycheck, you're done. You do not belong in this business. You need to pay the contractor immediately and on time. Okay, so it doesn't wait for your car issues. It doesn't wait for your money problems or whatever. You're sending your kid through college and they just got their semester bill. Nobody cares. Your situation is irrelevant. You have to pay the contractor on time. Trust me, I cannot tell you enough how much I have kept great contractors working for me because I pay quickly and I pay on time, and I don't really fuss about the nickel and diming of the price necessarily. I just analyze in my head, Is that a good price? Is that a price that I could do or would pay or whatnot? And that's pretty much the end of it. I don't need them to break it up by labor and materials and different, like, oh, well, I installed a sink, a vanity, and a light fixture. Well, how much was it to do the light fixture? It's just like, come on. It's the hours of the time and the knowledge that the contractor has in order to do these type of things. And that is really what you're paying for. But that's where it's the hardest for new investors, because new investors have no idea what the price should even be. All right, so number 3 way that you are kind of accidentally screwing over the contractor is one that I actually did. In the beginning of my journey, I often talked about getting contractors to come out to bid. I say, all right, bring 14 contractors into a house, and then that way you can use that to learn. So let's say you're a new investor who doesn't know what the price should be, just bring in lots and lots of contractors and just use all the information you're gaining, so that way the later ones, you now can have an intelligent conversation with them and reduce your possibility of being scammed. Unfortunately, this does obviously have the consequence of you bringing contractors to a job and spending their time. Like I said, they got to allocate resources and time of the day actually to do all of this with you. And then they're going to sit in the house and have a conversation with you and talk about it and all that. It's going to be like 4 hours of their day. It may not seem like it to you, but that's basically what they're allocating to come and talk to you for a job you're not going to hire them for. Now, maybe you just took the typical advice and you're just, getting 3 quotes and going to pick the best one. Well, now this is where you need to understand the job in order to accurately tell them, hey, here's what's going on. All right. So they need to come and see it, but your expectations of price should be in your head. This is something that I've noted for my contracting company, is that a lot of times before I go out to the job site, I make sure they understand here's about the ballpark price you're kind of looking at depending on these different variables. Ultimately, these kind of expectations, setting that expectation early for the contractors, so that way, you guys can kind of agree on some ballpark numbers before you come out. That's probably key. I'm not saying tell them what your budget is. Obviously, a contractor asking what your budget is, that's going to feel a bit scammy. But there are, of course, ways, if the contractor is savvy enough, to figure out what your budget is without even asking you that question. We'll go into that in future videos. But for now, let's stick to another way that investors are accidentally screwing over contractors. Not finding the right job for the contractor is the 4th way that investors accidentally screw over contractors. So a lot of times you end up hiring someone who's underkill or overkill for this job, or maybe it's something they don't prefer to do. I think the easiest example is if you want to do something without permits, you should clearly communicate that with the contractor. You want to find your contractor who are okay with changing out an electric panel without pulling electrical permits. There are many contractors who do that. Make sure you find the right one for that. I actually have my contractors do that. I have contractors who have day jobs. These are the guys who get screwed over the least when you hire them for small jobs, but generally they're not very available, okay? I have my jobs for people who I want to do quickly, for people who have large crews, for those who are really busy, like my mentor that I stated earlier. He's got so much work, he doesn't have time to jump to all your different properties, so I just send all the pictures to him directly, which I actually would recommend investors do that. Take pictures of the job. It would save so much time in the negotiation process, even before they even come out, and even waste your time, to be honest. Make sure you know that just because you have one plumber who's good doesn't mean that plumber is meant for every single task. You need plumbers and electricians and multiple framers and whatever who are catered to multiple different roles. I actually say straight up to many people, as of right now in recording this video, I wouldn't hire my team for demo. We're too expensive. We are a bunch of quality skilled guys who know how to do a job very well. And if you hire us to do demo, which almost anybody can do, you've basically hired a surgeon to put on a Band-Aid. It doesn't make any sense. So I just tell people straight up, hey, look, tell me when this is cleaned out, because you don't want my price for it. So these are things that you need to understand about your different contractors before you say, oh, you're too expensive, or oh, you're too cheap, or whatever the reason is, or your quality is poor. The way investors accidentally screw over contractors is really just a culmination of all of this, is really not giving clear instructions. See, if you're really confused on what you want, then you're going to be a pain in the ass to work for. A lot of contractors have dealt with that. People keep changing their mind or really don't understand really what the logistics of this are. Of course, that is a reason that new investors, they don't really know what exactly to expect, what exactly they should be saying. This is why if you do want me to help you negotiate with contractors, then I will assist you with that. Just reach out to me at the email address below, and I can come and look at your job, and we can talk about what exactly you should be telling the contractor for that first conversation, and how you know if a contractor is scamming you. I of course have a video on this as well, and I will be putting out many more because there's a lot of sharks in these waters, so just be aware of it if you are a new investor. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions about this. Comment below, and I will talk to you all very soon.